3D machines here. Well, unfortunately today is a terrible day to be 3D machines. I'm replacing the ball joints in my 98 Nissan Frontier. This is the same process for some of the Ford Rangers. Ford actually copied Nissan's design, so if you have a Ford Ranger somewhere around like the 2000s or so, like early 2000s, it's going to be the same process. So I just got my new tires on here. They're studded, and because we're dealing with the New York weather. But I take it up to the shop to get them aligned so that I don't wear through them. And he says, you got to replace your ball joints. I said, okay, well, hold on there. I'll do it myself because I don't need my bill racking up any more than it needs to, right? So the first thing we're going to do on this Frontier is take off that tire. And I'm going to show you the whole process right about now. Now, I didn't show me taking off the tire because if you do not know how to take off the tire, you do not belong watching this video. First thing we're going to do is take off this brake caliper. There's two bolts in the back. That includes that bolt and this bolt right here. Got to take those off. So I would suggest you getting some penetrating oil. You're going to like penetrating oil if you're from the north. Salt kills these trucks. Also, we're going to lubricate our tie rod end and our two ball joints that we're going to replace. My socket on the back of this caliper, I'm going to take that top bolt off that I showed you. And you want to make sure that your socket stays on as much of the bolt as possible so you don't strip it out. This bolt originally was probably 19 millimeter, but I crammed on 18 millimeter with a nice ball peen hammer. And then you don't strip anything. It's just harder to get the bolt out of the socket. Okay. I got that about 3/4 of the way out. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom nut, the bottom bolt. I'm going to see if I can get my 19 on there. If I can't, I'll force my 18 on there. The 19's going on real good, so I'll put a 19 on the bottom. And I'll take my torque wrench and loosen her up. Maybe. Get the caliper out of the way. Be careful, these brake pads can come out. And actually, good thing I tore this off. My one brake pad's perfectly good, and this one's shot. See that? No pad left. Beautiful. Always something to replace on this damn thing. So I'm going to put that caliper up there. I'll get a bungee cord somewhere on it. Tie it up so it doesn't fall down and rip my brake line. Instead of fighting with this rusted cotter pin, I'm just going to grind it right off. Oh, okay, there she goes. And then what I'll end up doing, probably won't show you guys, but I'll just put a hole through this, drill a hole through it, and put a new cotter pin in there when we go to replace it. Look at that, that ball joint came right out for me. Where are we looking? Right there, check it out. Came right out of the top. That might actually be a bigger bitch now. Son of a pup. I got my tie rod end off, just needed a little heat. Not on the tie rod itself, but the piece that goes onto the tie rod. Expand that, and luckily it's cold out here, so this piece stayed nice and cool. And then I popped it right out. Now what we're working on is getting this cotter pin out of this ball joint right here. So we're going to do the same way and just grind it out, and then hopefully it'll pop out with a socket wrench. Just like the other two, I'm going to get my grinder and cut off that cotter pin. Screw up those threads as much as you can. Yeah. Whew. Now we're gonna heat this up. Not the ball joint itself, this outside. It's gonna expand the steel, and hopefully it'll make it come off a lot easier. It has for the other stuff. There it goes. Woohoo! Love when my ball joints fall, especially when I want them off. But when I don't want them off, that's no good. So now I'm gonna take my hub off right here. Okay, what kind of fun stuff do we got in store? We got a Jesus clip or a C clip. So what must have happened is this C clip must have not have been properly seated, because that's why my CV shaft, CV axle, was popping out. It shouldn't be doing that. Come on! Oh, I got it! Woohoo! Okay. Remember how this shit went in. You got your spline washer, then you got this little tab doohad, and on top of that goes your Jesus clip, C clip, and now your hub assembly should come off. Remove the ball joint threads from the hub assembly, and that can be easier said than done. But like I just did, I got it out. Try not to tear your boot. There you go. Okay. There we go. Got that done. I'm gonna be cautious and don't want to touch that boot, because if I touch the boot, then I gotta replace the boot. So I'm gonna take my trusty wire, take my CV axle, wrap it right around my A-arm. There she goes. So now we got to get this ball joint out. It's got a C-clip in here, so we're going to grind that right off, pull it out, and then get the puller and push this right out. Woohoo! Got it. Awesome! This is a puller that I got with the ball joints. They let me rent it for free because I bought $220 worth of ball joint, $240 worth of ball joints. That was awesome. What was that? Whoa! You guys are getting one hell of a show. So am I. Joint. Uh-oh. That might not be a good thing. Got the damn tool stuck in it. Ruh-roh. So here's my new top ball joint. What comes in this is a little ring and the ball joint, along with a cotter pin and a C-clip. This already comes pre-greased. This cover has to go on top of this, and it goes over, and then this little piece right here connects the two. Got it. Just like that, it's on. Now that we got the ball joint all hooked up, we're gonna grease it. I got wheel grease over here, trailer grease. Nothing too stringy, but it is lubricant. And then we'll get our puller. She's seated because she's getting hard to crank. Now we'll back off of it. These things don't like me. There we go. Gonna tap in position with a hammer. We don't want that C-clip coming out. Make sure it's completely seated around the base of the ball joint. Looks good. Hopefully she wants to go. Woohoo! My balls are just flying everywhere. I'm going to tie my CV axle back up, and we'll get to this ball joint. This ball joint's much simpler. All it is a nut on the bottom and a nut on the top. We're going to grease this one just like the other one. Grease her up good. Now this will pull itself right through. Just tighten that right up. Now we're ready for our hub assembly. Right after we clean it out, because I can see a whole bunch of dirt on it. Get a paper towel, clean that up. We'll put it on. Now you gotta put a little bit of the CV axle on, and then you gotta work on the bottom as well, hooking your ball joint up. So it's 50-50. Slide up like that. Now I'm gonna let my truck down, and that'll make it so the hub assembly goes to the other ball joint, the upper ball joint. I'm gonna tighten this lower nut real tight. It'll draw the whole hub assembly up, and it'll catch that second ball joint. Take a pair of needle nose, pry these back. One goes one way, one goes the other, or you can keep it straight. I bend them both because I don't plan on touching it again. Now we're going to tighten up this nut. Using a wrench because I can't fit a socket in there. Gonna make this snug and then put the cotter pin in this one as well. So I just pull my CV axle out towards me more. And then my spline washer. Oh, took part of my glove. And it isn't matching up yet, so I gotta pull the CV axle towards me more. Okay, I got it. Now I just gotta put my C-clip on and get that so it fits properly. So it fits in there snug. And then we're gonna put the hub back on. I just drilled my tie rod out. Gonna put that back in. Put my nut back on there. Put the cotter pin in. And that'll be all set. Now that the hub's installed, now I would put on my brake caliper with those 2 bolts, but since my one pad's gone, I'm going to the store and I'm gonna buy that and replace it. But by the time I get to you guys, it'll be dark and you guys won't see anything. So when you put this caliper on, basically you just snug it around your rotor and line it up, put the bolts in, you're ready to go. Put your tire on, and your ball joints are replaced. So there you guys go. I'm a little dirty, but my ball joints are replaced. 3D Machines out.